All work and no Federal Reserve makes Jack a mad boy. A hilarious examination of the Shining and the banking history that funded the Nazis. Stanley Kubrick's The Shining is a film rich with symbolism, subtext, and enough conspiracy theories to keep YouTube running until the sun explodes. While many scholars have explored its themes of isolation, genocide, and familial disintegration, there's an overlooked financial thread woven into the film that ties together America's banking history, the rise of Nazi Germany, and the eternal duel between Alexander Hamilton and Andrew Jackson. Yes, Kubrick wasn't just making a horror movie, he was giving us a cinematic dissertation on the perils of fiat currency and the unintended consequences of centralized banking. By unpacking the creation of the Federal Reserve, the move toward international fiat lending, and America's complicated financial entanglements with Nazi Germany, we can uncover how The Shining serves as an allegory for the sinister cycles of economic power and its unintended consequences. Let's dive in. Hamilton versus Jackson, the birth of the national bank, and eternal drama. The philosophical rivalry between Alexander Hamilton and Andrew Jackson is as foundational to American history as apple pie, and arguing over who's better in a fight, Batman or Superman. Hamilton, a staunch Federalist and founding father, was the architect of the first Bank of the United States, championing the idea that a strong centralized financial system was crucial for national stability. Jackson, on the other hand, loathed centralized banking. He famously dismantled the Second Bank of the United States, seeing it as a corrupt institution that favored the elite. This animosity culminated in Jackson's infamous bank war, where he transferred federal funds to smaller state banks, a move that destabilized the economy and arguably sowed the seeds of future financial chaos. Kubrick, always meticulous in his symbolism, hints at this rivalry through the film's dualities: Jack versus Wendy, Danny versus Jack, Lloyd the bartender versus Sanity, and the Overlook Hotel itself, which operates as a haunted monument to greed and corruption. The Overlook's vast, glittering interior evokes the excesses of a financial system run amok, a gilded cage built on the graves of its victims, the Federal Reserve, and the path to fiat currency. Fast forward to 1913, the Federal Reserve Act creates the Federal Reserve System, America's answer to its long-standing financial instability. This central bank was Hamilton's dream come true, albeit about a century late. By creating a system of fiat currency, money not backed by a physical commodity like gold, the Federal Reserve laid the groundwork for an interconnected global economy. What does this have to do with The Shining? Everything. The Overlook Hotel is a microcosm of this financial system, an institution that promises grandeur and stability but is, in reality, a house of horrors built on exploitation. Its foundation, literally on Native American burial grounds, mirrors the Federal Reserve's own questionable underpinnings, where economic power is built on systemic inequities, fiat currency, international lending, and funding the Nazis. One of the darker chapters in America's financial history is its indirect funding of Nazi Germany's rise to power. Through international lending and the global banking system facilitated by fiat currency, American companies and financial institutions played a role in propping up Germany's pre-war economy. Companies like Ford and IBM infamously had ties to Nazi Germany, and loans from American banks helped stabilize the Weimar Republic's economy before it descended into fascism. Kubrick nods to this tangled history through The Shining's portrayal of cyclical violence and complicity. The Overlook's lavish gold room, where Jack makes his infamous deal with Lloyd the bartender, serves as a metaphor for the seductive but deadly allure of unchecked financial power. Lloyd, ever the smooth-talking spirit, embodies the role of international bankers who offer easy credit with a side of damnation. Jack Torrance as the American economy. Jack Torrance is more than just an axe-wielding maniac. He's a walking allegory for America's economic history. Let's break it down. Over-leveraged dreams. Like the US economy in the lead-up to the Great Depression, Jack starts out with big dreams, writing a novel, taking care of his family, but quickly becomes overwhelmed by forces beyond his control. The deal with Lloyd. Jack's deal with Lloyd, I'll do anything for a drink, mirrors the Faustian bargains made by nations and individuals in pursuit of short-term gain. Just as America's financial entanglements with Nazi Germany were rationalized as business decisions, Jack justifies his actions in service of the Overlook's demands. Madness and cyclical violence. Jack's descent into madness parallels the cyclical nature of economic crises, where unchecked greed and systemic failures lead to disaster. Like the Federal Reserve's role in the boom and bust cycles of the 20th century, Jack's actions perpetuate a legacy of destruction. The Overlook as a monument to greed. The Overlook Hotel itself is the ultimate symbol of economic hubris. Built on stolen land, it thrives on the suffering of those within its walls. Its ghosts represent the casualties of systemic exploitation, Native Americans workers, and yes, even the family units sacrificed on the altar of ambition. The Gold Room's opulence evokes the excesses of the Roaring Twenties, a period of speculative frenzy fueled by the Federal Reserve's monetary policies. It's no coincidence that the room feels both intoxicating and oppressive, much like the economic systems Kubrick critiques. The Eternal Cycle, the film's final shot, a photograph of Jack at the Overlook's 1921 party, drives home the idea of cyclical entrapment. Just as the US economy repeats its patterns of boom and bust, Jack is doomed to replay his role in the Overlook's bloody history. Conclusion: Kubrick's warning about economic hubris. Through The Shining, Stanley Kubrick offers more than just a horror story. He delivers a scathing critique of America's financial legacy. By drawing parallels between Jack Torrance's downfall and the rise of centralized banking, fiat currency, and America's indirect funding of Nazi Germany, Kubrick forces us to confront the darker aspects of progress and power. The next time you watch Jack swing his axe or sip his ghostly bourbon, remember, this isn't just a story about a haunted hotel. It's a chilling reminder that every dollar has a history, and sometimes that history is scarier than any ghost.